Hello and welcome everyone to another round of Pew Pew Evening. You all have a great week so far. What am I saying? Like, I do hope the horrors are not destroying you too much from the inside. Like, I know it's not easy. It's like the world sucks right now, and I do hope you have at least a little bit of respite, a little bit of relaxedness. I really cannot say it in any other way, actually. I think I did a lot. Oh yeah, right. Almost everything here. Interesting. What the hell did I... Oh, private challenge. Oh, that thing. Yeah, you know what? Last time it didn't work. I tried it yesterday. Now it does work. So let's try some motorcycles. And hopefully it works this time. Couldn't show it last week. It does work. Nice. Oh yeah. The horrors are all around us recently, I would say. So I do hope you all are doing well. Just I'm streaming on the internet. Like I'm sitting here and I know one of my main things is just to talk with people about things, but like you think about that sometimes that you're just supposed to wake up, like you just wake up, you hear the President of the United States has just announced new war crimes. Nothing's happening against it, and you're just supposed to keep going. You're just supposed to have a day. Not roll over and weep. It's a fact, right?
For the long haul. Gear up and stand by for next steps.
Honestly, pretty fun little side mode. I wanted to show that last time, but for some reason last Tuesday it didn't work. I know people went like completely ballistic over like, oh no, this is so evil and bad that they made, you know, a funny little racing mode in the game. Oh no, the horrors. Ooh, someone gets slapped. Yep. Bye.
Alright, that was a bang-up job. Get prepped for a new mission.
Hey, honestly, this is fun. This is just fun, you know? Especially since I do think they do need some more modes like that, or, you know, I think they can actually use this as a set dressing. Because, like, you know, the game always had vehicles. And it's kind of a shame that we do not have more stuff that encourages driving vehicles. Like, is this, you know, the most, the best motor driving game there is? No. I've played worse motor driving games, though. Let me tell you that. Similarly, I really wish they had something like muscle cars again. That would also make for, like, very fun driving challenges. Hell, they could have made a Trackmania style mode where, you know, everyone else in the lobby is a ghost, and you have like 100 people in the lobby competing for the best round record. I think number 2 had a problem, so they fell off. Which, you know, just lets me style a bit more. It's actually pretty cool that you can just do spins. Hey, Sir Tofu! Welcome! Oh god, I really wish we had a normal AK in the game though. I mean, I have a few, but how is it going with the endless barrage of torment and chaos on the news? Damn, this is going pretty well this round. I'm just like showing off the current event mode because last week it didn't work, and I was like, hey, it's actually kind of fun having a motorcycle race. It is kind of funny how it's the same slogan in English because I think in German it does hit better because wings is Flügel. So, you know, whenever there's an ad, it's like Red Bull verleiht Flügel. And it's just it's a lot softer, you know, it just kind of fits a bit better. But maybe it's just me growing up with that, and, you know, I mean, it's an Austrian company, so... Duh. Yeah, it's the same slogan. It's just like, you know, in the ow. Now I fuck up. The number one. Also, hey Vivek, how are you doing? Yes. I'm from Germany. I'm also doing pretty well. Also, wee! Okay, this is cool. Yeah, not winning that one. I fucked up too much, but... Anyway. Just got the wheelie out of the way. Oh, couldn't get a... I just take drum text to... Ooh! Neat. I am doing well, all things considered. Like, I think I have a slight migraine, but it's getting better. It's just, probably just need some good sleep, and that's all. Yeah. That's actually... how... Okay, in what way, by the way? In what way? Oh yeah, I can also tell you why that is if you want to. Nope, that's actually completely correct. Again, we have it's Hollander. Okay, listen, it's an interesting thing though. See, Oh, fuck it. Now there are two things I like. Three things: linguistic history, cultural history, Alemanni. Yeah, Alemannen, as we call them, because the Alemannen were a southern German tribe. So basically, even now, even here, we say that, basically all the southern German dialects around the, Rhine region, etc. That's Alemannisch. Which, yeah, that's coming from those tribes. And because, France and Italy basically bordered those became, this is why, when they were talking about the, the country above them, well, those were the Alemannen, obviously. So Germany is Alemannia in French, for example. Meanwhile, there's all around Switzerland. No, they were actually quite widespread in that regard. Southern Germany and Switzerland. Yeah, they're both. They were both there. Basically, you know what? Let's just open the browser and then you can see it a bit more clearly. Ba-bam. Ba-bam. There we go. I mean, America is America. English is America. English to Deutsch. English is a bunch of languages. I mean, yeah. The English were like, colonized by a lot of people. As you can see here, for example, the Alemannen were like slap dab in the middle, and then the Franks above that. Hey, start getting pineapple. So yeah, and by the way, the Saxons, they're coming from here. Saxons and Angeln were two ones, and then they were the Anglo-Saxons, because the Angles and the Saxons mixed in England. This is why we call it Anglo-Saxony. I mean, the Syagrians, they're basically dead. Okay, you need to keep in mind, those were the, you need to keep in mind, this is basically after the, right after the, how's it called, migration period. Okay, so basically all of those tribes went down. So the West Goths, they basically, took over, like, a lot of stuff down there, but, like, the thing is, the Franks conquered all of this. All of this. The Sigarians do not exist anymore. The ones that basically kind of survived, the Burgundy people, they survived, like Burgundy, the region survived in name, and the culture to a degree, and the Bretons also. But the Franks just took all of that. They're kind of cool with the elements, and like, by the way, this is why France is France, and we like in German we still call it Frankreich, the the empire of the Franks, because the Franks conquered all of this shit. Anyway, yeah. The Saxons did move around. You need to keep in mind, the Saxons were basically still... the Saxons were an offshoot of the... how's it called? The Nordic tribe, the Scandinavian ones. And also, when the Franks came... Because, the Franks were... Charlemagne happened. Charlemagne basically waltzed up to the Saxon group and were like, you are now under my rule and you're becoming Catholic. And a lot of the Franks were like, okay. But yeah, French and the Franzosen are the same but different. No, it's just yeah, they're kind of the same. Like, I would say what we think of as French definitely developed way later. They had a very civil disagreement with ones that didn't. Oh yeah. Then again, you need to keep in mind the reason the guy was called the Great was also just because he was fucking tall. So like, when he rolled up to a place, everyone was just like, oh, yeah, I'm not gonna beef with that guy. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, like, I'm not kidding you, Charlemagne was especially for the time, like, I think, even in our time, I think, how big was he? Like, that's ironic. You need to keep in mind, the Great is not only because of, you know, why they conquered sometimes. Yeah, Charlemagne was 1 meter 84. I mean, I'm still smaller than the guy. Like, this is for nowadays just like, oh yeah, 184. That's a reasonably tall guy, but like for the time, that's a giant. Yeah, yeah, he was tall, so yeah, that's again, especially for like really early medieval ages, that's like, again, he was the Great because again, I think the official ones here are 184, but again, that's still huge for the time. Again, there's a reason he was called the Great. You know what? No, this is highly appreciated. This is the kind of stuff I like to talk about. It also, you know, it distracts from the horrors, PM. Because, you know... Oh, that's actually interesting. I don't know how... Portuguese, I think. I never knew the Portuguese pronunciation, but... Good luck at work. Hope it isn't burning you out, and translate that text. Yeah. I mean, I think this could be, very well be because, you know, I actually had French in school, so like I know how to pronounce some Roman like more Romantic language pronunciations. So maybe. I just mostly forgot everything, you know. That's more like the... I choose English as my final language for school, and... I mean, the French are also probably the weirdest ones of the bunch. Like, let's just... They have a whole ministry to invent words. Just because they're like, you know what? We can't just use the words that everyone else has come up with. We need to make new ones that are French. I'm like, shut up. Yeah, the French are like a very unique one. No, that's actually true. They do have a ministry for that. They don't just adopt words. They just make shit up. Then again, European languages are wild. Like, for example, you combine That is very French history. It is incredibly French, yes. Like, meanwhile, Germany had an attempt at quote unquote simplifying the language. Because everyone was just like, we need to go with the time. We're an old weird language, and in the end, I think I told this before, but we have something called scharfes S in German. Let me just put it down in the chat. This thing. So, for example, street in German is Straße, and this is how it's written. It is wonderful, yeah. The thing is, just there was no, big version of it, and so with the advent of the internet, they were like, how about you can just write it with 2S, so, like this, which is technically correct. No one does it. Turns out the youth rejected. We are still writing with the scharfes S because no, we just like our weird words. Or, they try to make it more into, I think that you don't need to use that many umlauts, and nope, our generation was like, fuck you, umlauts are wonderful. Is. And you know what happened? You know what happened last year? We got a large version of it. It's not on keyboards yet, and generally, if there are keyboard layouts at some point that have that on it, I might buy a new keyboard, even though my current one is still going super strong after over 10 years. Because yeah, I can yell with the scharfes S now. Where did they do that? I don't know. Again, they haven't put it there, but there is in the code now a big scharfes S. Officially a thing. Oh no, why did you kill the umlauts? They're fantastic. That's a crime against language.
Hostiles now hold more objectives.
Then again, you could never say, I think the umlaut is one thing that will stay in the German language. For one simple reason. Oh, yeah, it's interesting when there are legally demanded reforms, and interesting that yours went through, because the simplification that we had again went nowhere because people just disliked it. But yeah, I do think one of the I can tell you though, we will probably never get rid of a few things of our of the German language, because the thorn, I don't think we had that. Well, it was probably an old grammar, but I don't think we have it nowadays. No. I mean, technically, it is used on words that we borrow from other languages, but then it's also just dropped sometimes. For example, okay, for example, if you talk about a cafe, the restaurant where you go to drink cafe, those are written completely different, because one is a concept that was taken from the French language, so it is actually written with an apostrophe. But a cafe is Oh boy, how should I just read in the chat, like, you... That's how you write it. But yeah, I do think a bunch of the weirdness will never go away, simply due to spite. And you're probably going to... oh, nice. Because, like, here's the thing. Have you ever thought about what would happen if you removed the umlaute from the German language? If you if you'd said, oh, you know, the CK thing, that's a bit weird. We can just like make that simpler, right? What would happen if you just do that? Yeah, I'm just like, think about it. The scharfes S replaced for normal S. All the umlaute just out for the normal language words. What do you think would happen? What would be the result of that? The answer is Dutch. No, never. We would not do that. There's an old joke about that, like, in the 2000s. It was one of the first, you know, it was one of the first memes. I don't even know if you can find it anymore. But like, someone basically wrote a long text where they, like, you know, where like, let's just simplify the German language, right? And they just, you know, with everything they said, they just removed it. And then at the end they were like, and now we have the Dutch language. It's like, oh god, no. And like, then again, the thing about simplifying German is also to a degree that it's a fool's errand, because the irony about German is that while it is, I've seen like a variant of this somewhere, it could be the case. Like, the thing about German is, which is probably also why France, like, has this whole thing with their ministry going on. Like, German is very much a language that is built around modability. Like, you'd think, oh, why do, you know, why, for example, has German so many articles, you know, daddy, does, and like so many variants of that, you know, conjugations? The answer is simple. Ever thought about how many words from other languages, like completely different language types, we had to integrate? German, like, German was basically the thing spoken in Central Europe, and it always had to be somewhat compatible with the, you know, Germanic tribes, so Germanic / Alemannic tribes. This is why we call those Deutsch, because they were like, there was like basically 3 to 4 big groups that had very different sub-languages basically, and they were all intercompatible. That is a big thing. Like, you need to keep in mind, someone from Frisian can talk to a Bavarian, and they would roughly get what they mean. That is a language distinction that is impressive. Like, yeah, China also has a lot of languages, but I don't think they are as intercompatible to a degree, which is interesting to think about, right? But then also you need to keep in mind the German language was bordering on the Scandinavian languages, on the Roman languages, on the Slavic languages, and then the Hungarians were also there. Like, the Hungarians were like literally part of like the German Empire. And if you don't know, Hungary, like Hungarian, is a language that is just not spoken anywhere in Europe. It's just an insular, weird, you know, nomadic origin, and And yet a bunch of shit was just working. Oh yeah, the Chinese ones are wild in that regard. But yeah, yeah, like, honestly, the Hungarian language is fascinating. Especially, you know, considering how long it survived inside of, you know, well, the Holy Roman Empire, the Austrian and Austro-Hungarian Empire. But yeah, the Hungarian language has no roots in any European language. It's not a Romanic, it's not a Germanic, it's not a Slavic one. It is from steppe tribes. Because, you know, steppe people migrated into the Hungarian region and settled there. And that just stayed. And again, that's a language, you know, German as a language had to be compatible with to a degree, you know, for political and especially, you know, trade reasons. Yeah, it's quite interesting. Yeah, that's probably one of those things why, you know, when it comes to the German language, it's kind of interesting how we have like some very weird basics, but then the language itself is incredibly flexible in how it works. Like, you can adapt a lot of words, but also how sentences are structured is incredibly flexible. It's wrong here in Europe and in the Euros and nowhere else. Good luck doing the math. Yeah, it's just that happened. That's European history in a nutshell to a degree. Like, funny big German words people joke about only happen because German is really modular anyway. Yep. And like, it's kind of funny how people are always like, oh, German is such a harsh language. And like, no, like the whole point of German is to, like, especially a lot of dialects, is to be very smooth sounding, very nice, because, you know, there's a reason we still say we're like the country of, you know, poets, which we were for a long time. We had Goethe. I'm just saying, we had fucking Goethe. And two Wolfgangs that dominated the music scene. Now, do you know who those two Wolfgangs were? That's the big one now. Also talk as if German's the hardest language ever, and then go learn English. English, yeah, it's interesting because English is definitely one of those things where we'll say, people always compare the articles and like, yeah, sorry, the German ones go overboard, but the rest is pretty easy. Like, I mean, the irony is that the biggest hurdle people have for German is to a degree the articles. What? But the rest, like, for example, there's an interesting thing. For example, how where you structure your object and your subject in a sentence can be completely flipped at will. Yeah, because English is just like a completely, it's a mixed language. Like, holy shit. Yeah, meanwhile, you know, you have like a lot of flexibility and like you can do some insane shit with the German language because, like, I mean, even when, you know, Germans try to joke in German, like, there was the, like, when I was in school, there was the whole Ibims phase, which is, sorry, I still like that. It's just, it's 3 to 4 languages in French, but it is, that's English, yeah. It's kind of insane that this has become, you know, the universally appreciated language. And at some point, I wish the myth of the USA had the choice between English and German to become their main language. And like, I wish that was true, because they could have chosen a better one. I'm just saying. Yeah, no, the flexibility is like you need to keep in mind. There is a like from how many languages stuff was adapted. Like, for example, a thing probably a lot of German people do not think about, because it is just, you know, so ingrained. It's just like, what dialect is spoken in your home? And then usually you will use words from that dialect, because like basically we have a lot of synonyms for just like the most normal thing. Like, we know, for example, everyone knows what a Kartoffel is. That's the concept, that like a potato, that's a Kartoffel. However, if you go, for example, in the South German where I grew up, there some call it Erdapfel. Others call it Grombeere. But like, people know those words. They're interchangeable. So you know, you can just slot in what you know from your dialect, which ironically then I had a late realization, ironically, and I shit you not. Because I played the fucking Wolfenstein games, the new ones, I realized, oh wow, I was speaking a lot of Yiddish when I grew up. Because my grandpa was speaking Yiddish. So I just took a lot of his words. What's Pfannkuchen? It's Pfannkuchen, Pfannkuchen, something like that. It's Pfannkuchen, you know? Oh, you know what? Some still call it crepe here, because they call it crepe. Because they just made crepes, because it was very close to France.
Eierkuchen.
You're from East Germany, you call them Eierkuchen, I know.
There's technically a difference in recipe. We looked that up.
There's a difference, because East German, but fundamentally they're the same idea.
Yes.
Attacking objective Foxtrot.
Also, you know, we're not from Berlin. A Berliner is a Berliner, not a Pfannkuchen. I don't know what the Berliners are up to, but it's not kosher, I tell you that. No! I just realized where you wanted to go.
Foxtrot.
Okay, I think we just confused Vivek. Let me pull up the the browser just for a second. So just so you know, there is a so basically, if you if you go to Germany and you talk to anyone about a Pfannkuchen or Eierkuchen, you will get this. Basically, a slightly thicker version of a crepe. The fact that crepes are so thin is making my mind boggle that they caught on, because again, I think everyone in the world who hears, wait, you can make crepes thicker and fill them with Nutella? Yes, you can. Those are perfect, okay? So this is what, and I will tell you now, 99% of Germany calls a Pfannkuchen. Because, you know, they're basically, you know, well, you know what? This is all, they can also be a bit thicker. Depends on which region you are. Like, I think the South does make them a bit thick, just slightly thicker than France. But like, honestly, there are crepe machines in that you can buy that are literally just, you have like a heating plate and you dip it into batter. That's how thin a crepe is supposed to be. Meanwhile, you know, the southern German ones are slightly thicker. Meanwhile, the more inland you go to like Bavaria or so, the thicker they get. So, this is Eierkuchen. Yes, I know. Again, they're called Pfannkuchen because, again, they're a batter. You pour it in a pan and basically fry / like you make kind of a cake out of it. Anyway, so what everyone in Berlin calls... Thank you fucking... Okay. Calls this a Pfannkuchen. Which is basically what everyone else would call like a filled donut.
We would not call it a donut.
It is more comparable to that from people outside of Germany.
Yeah.
Because it is, you know, a thick dough fried in oil. Yeah. And filled with mallet. Yeah, because they got the same thing. But for some reason, the people in Berlin decided the thing that everyone calls a Berliner, so basically a Berliner, is a Pfannkuchen. Contention. You know, it does not. It wouldn't surprise me because, like, this thing is old, and you need to keep in mind people from those from the region of Berlin and such, or like even something called Schmalzkuchen. It like those were very common around here. So, and then you know a lot of people from Germany went old. Wunderschöne Krapfen. It's also called Krapfen. Yeah, like that's the irony, you know? I know people are also like, oh, like Americans kind of want to pretend, you know, the donut didn't come, was like an American invention, but like, It also came from here. Like, basically, people just combined the the sweet stuff with the techniques of with basically the same techniques as they made bagels, for one simple reason. Like, they were easier to sell. Like, that's yeah, if you ever wondered why do bagels have a hole, the thing is, bagels were sold by street vendors, and so they just baked in a hole so they could put them on sticks and just hold them easier while, you know, going down the street and sell them. That's quite literally how it happened. And if you then want to expand that into like a sweet business, oh hey, you have this one thing that you can fry, so just make another hole in it, fry it up, and, you know, take it with you. That's why there is a hole. When something has a hole, and in bakery, it's usually because there was a street vendor that sold it, and this is like one of the easiest ways to store them. Like in, for example, in Turkey, or generally in Arabian parts, there are also ringed breads you can get for breakfast, and guess why they're ring shaped? That's right, street vendors. Food history. But yeah, that's basically a bit about the European stuff here. But yeah, this is the thing I'm talking about. Like, Germany adapted so many words. Like, again, I think the fact that Zonho here now. That's actually good. That's actually an interesting thing. I could Google that. You know, also I have to kill. Dream. Maybe just because they tasted like a dream and was a good marketing. Like, I mean, you need to keep in mind the term hot dog also came because, you know, Germans. Okay. So, here's this thing. When you, for example, the reason why hamburgers and hot dogs are like that is because of Germans. Because, by the way, we always have a history of putting stuff in bread or, you know, buns. You know, that's the thing. So, for example, the hamburgers were quite literally, you have a bun, and then you put a boulette in there with, like, usually some mustard. That's usually what it would have, or something else. And boulette were quite literally, you mix, you know, meat with, like, egg and breadcrumbs. You know, you stretch it. The whole thing it developed into the burger was, you know, there was such an abundance of meat in the USA, you could just ditch the stretching. Which is why, you know, here you can still get, you know, from like a lot of bakeries and local shops, you can still get boulettes taste different. But you know, when people came, because, you know, a lot of people, a lot of ships to America went from Hamburg, and people wanted something to eat, they just ate the thing from Hamburg, you know, a hamburger. That's also why they are sometimes called hamburger steak, because it was the steak from Hamburg. Duh. So, you know, that's where they're coming from. But on the other hand, putting, you know, a sausage between breads, that's like, you go anywhere there's a festival or so, you will get a grilled bratwurst in a bun. That's just a thing. That's true. So,
All right, objective Echo is now under our control. Pilots are free to engage.
Hostiles are attacking objective Charlie.
and yeah, so the whole, you know, selling shit, like selling a sausage in a bread is also one of those, hey, what type of bread do you, can you get? Like, for example, the cross, for example, buns that you get in Germany. Like, German buns are always like cross on the outside, fluffy on the inside. Yeah, great. But in, if you, for example, move to New York and you have, you want to sell, let's say, sausages in a bun, you know, at, like, for example, sport events or so, because you know how to make the sausages, but you need someone to make the buns, but the only person that makes buns is, like, someone that can make, like brioche buns, like the really soft ones. Well, then you just grab those and then tell people, well, you know, I sell, and then you shout your sausage and the sausage name, because again, one of the key things is when you sell a sausage in a bun is not is a very common thing here. So you distinct which type of sausage you're selling. In this case, by the way, which is the thing that which is also what a hot dog is nowadays derived from, it were wieners, which is, by the way, coming from Vienna. they don't really have anything to do with Vienna. They were actually developed in, I think, around Frankfurt. But Frankfurt's a different sausage. Anyway, the thing is, the wiener is literally a sausage, but also the wiener was basically a slang word for, how do I call it again? The small little dogs that you use to hunt.
Ducks.
Ducks, yeah. Dackel, yeah. That's why we're also called Dachshund. So, you know. Dachshund. Oh, yeah, Dachshund. That's the thing. He sold Wiener Würstchen. And because Wiener is slang for a Dachshund, yes, people were just like, I can't remember that word, but they just basically, because he sold hot wieners, they were like, I guess give me one of those hot dogs. That's why we call it hot dogs, because the word wiener was similar to was a slang word for a dog. Anyway, linguistic history. It's interesting to know that they were really called Dachshund because that is such a German word. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me.
We now control more objectives. Secure our defenses.
Then again, it's not like we don't do that either, but...
Confirmed to Charlie.
But yeah, overall, small introduction into also, by the way, this is by the way why traditionally hot dogs are not fried, because wieners are not sausages you fry directly. You can fry every sausage, and you know, sometimes even I did that, but like wieners were specifically made to be cooked. Like
I owe you one.
like for example, if you go and like you put them like in a water bath, and you know, you keep the you make them slightly warm, and that's that. Or, you know, one of the most famous things to use them for. Quite literally, you put them in soup. Like, generally, you make like potato soup, and then you puree the potato soup, and then after the pureeing, you put in like a bunch of wieners. But, you know, cut full or cut down. You can do it any way you want. And this is just like really fucking good because like wieners with potato soup fit insanely well, but also because it adds like this, like, unironically, cooking wieners for like 5 to 10 minutes in your potato soup at the end just gives it. It's just a slight extra hint, and it just tastes so much better. There's a genuine difference. But yeah, it is good. There's a reason Agonia loves when I do it.
We've lost control of objective Charlie.
But yeah. We need to knife someone this stream. Oh well. Yeah, food and good in linguistics. It's always interesting, you know? Because yeah, sometimes it is just one local variant that changes everything about it. Ooh, nice. It's a fascinating topic, you know?
Attack support needed on the marked objective.
Oof. Then again, I'm also not surprised that a bunch of stuff in came into the Portuguese language. Like, didn't the Habsburgs also marry into the into the Portuguese royal family? Like, at some point they just controlled everyone, and then they got mighty chins. That's how it kind of went, from what I remember.
We've locked the enemy out of all positions.
Yeah, the Spanish were. I know the Spanish were, the
Craft fuel and ready.
Spanish, the Austrians, they were everywhere. Hey, hello, the streak. But it could just very well be that there was some, you know, cross-pollination from everything. Then you have, like, I'm doing pretty well, hey! Welcome! We have a nice stream about languages and cultural influences. I mean, like, the irony about the Habsburgs being everywhere is actually why you saw so many Wittelsbachers later on in European history. Okay, I'm doing it! I'm doing it! Oh, okay, that was good.
Leaving the AO. Return to combat.
Ah, not... no, not really. I mean, you know, when I play, like, at night, which I do sometimes, but, like, you know, when I play at, like, 3 to 4 a.m. on EU servers, I should not, be like, ooh, this is a problem. But, like, you know, when I just play in the evening, no problem.
Keep holding the majority of objectives.
Yeah, for example. Yep. EU is pretty well. Like, again, around midnight, they're full. And sometimes I do play with a friend from the USA, and then land on American servers. And NA West seems to also not be pretty populated. So I don't know what is going on with the Asian servers, but it would not surprise me. Okay. Oh yeah, the Wittelsbachers. Okay, so the Wittelsbachers are just a fascinating family because they were actually very, like, they actually controlled a bunch of stuff in... What is wrong?
Wittelsbachers, I don't like them.
Why didn't you like the... Oh yeah, you played EU5.
I do not need to play EU5 for that.
Why? Oh, Brandenburg in general?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know they kind of let Brandenburg hanging. Which I was honestly, that would be useful. Truth be told, I know this is like, oh hey, we don't want people always tuning in. No, okay, Bavaria it's okay. Vivi, were you ever there when I told you how Bavaria became a kingdom and how the Wittelsbachers created one of the longest-standing spites in history? You know what? I will talk about that. I will be right back, and then we can talk a bit about the Wittelsbachers because they're very, very interesting. Truth be told, they are really interesting. So yeah, I'll be back in a second. And we are back. Hey, you have water now. Nice. Okay, so the Wittelsbachers, they're actually very fascinating because, as you pointed out, they did come from Bavaria, but they basically spread like all over southern Germany and a bit up into northern Germany. And they had like, I'm not going to put it this way, you could actually look at them to a degree as like small time. They were basically small time Habsburgs. Like the Habsburgs, they just went all in, you know? They went for all the big seats. That's basically a sub family from them. Yeah. And a lot of places a lot of places that barely made sense, but like that made them a big family. That also interestingly had like they actually made a very clear arrangement like hundreds of years ago, like in 16 something or 15 something. Like they made a very clear arrangement who, you know, inherits what in case of, you know, someone dies without children, which is, by the way, what led to the whole, where I came from, the hometown, where someone built like the biggest chateau in all of Europe, possibly, you know, the biggest chateau ever, because the guy could just like literally go and just get money from people because he was like, listen, all the other people in the Wittelsbacher family, they don't have children. I'm gonna inherit all that shit. I'm gonna be filthy rich. And so everyone was like, makes sense to me. So he just had like too much money to spare and outbuilt Versailles. The thing is, the Wittelsbachers were very fascinating because they had the Palatinate, which is basically a small family side of them, and like one of the best examples of, you know, hey, we kind of want to, no, he was basically the one that will inherit it during that time. But the thing is, before that, you know, one of the branches was basically, hey, it was the whole, hey, we kind of want to, we lost our whole monarchy thing. Sorry, don't worry about it. We lost our whole monarchy thing and we need someone from, you know, a relatively, you know, at least a connected family, but, you know, maybe not one that is too powerful. Yeah, anyway, so if you remember how Hanover got the throne of Britain, yeah, those were Wittelsbachers, and one of the reasons they chose them were because, you know, they were relatively influential, they were not too small, they had a relationship with the old house, and they were not Habsburgs. Or, you know, at least they were not one of the, you know, big ones back then. Even though they had the, even though they actually had the Holy Roman Empire throne like 2 times, but, you know, due to the Holy Roman Empire throne, they also got, you know, reign over Brandenburg, which is what Agonia pissed off because they literally did not care about Brandenburg. They cared about Heidelberg and Mannheim. And then later on, they also went back to Munich and stuff. But anyway, so yeah, it is very hard. Okay, you know what? It's not really very hard in EU5. It is more a kick in the gut, and then they still spit on you because it's just borderline unfair. Like, I don't know if EU5 is actually turning around, but basically, when it came out, playing Brandenburg was unfun because of like you just literally did not know what you needed to do to actually get to Prussia. Like, it was incredibly unclear. And then, like, all the events just, like, kicked you to the curb. You couldn't really work against them. You needed to just be lucky at that point.
Oh, you could work through them, but it was never worth it.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, Brandenburg in EU5 is just like unfun, so I don't know. Probably you need to wait until like a DLC or some rework until that is worthwhile. But yeah, I mean, EU5 was also came out. Hey, this is fun. If you like a few patches later, wow, They literally patched out the fun. How the fuck do you do that? What do you do, Prussia S in EU5? I think you do need to stabilize Brandenburg, and then you need to take on the Teutonic Order. And
You need the specific culture group for it.
yeah,
In a majority, and Brandenburg does not have much of that culture group. So it's easier to play the Teutonic Order and make pressure with them. Way easier.
I don't know if you did play EU5 at launch, but like, yeah, the fast patching they did was just not the best decision. I mean, there's a whole thing online about that, but yeah, it's Brandenburg is just like even worse about that. I do think, you know, some parts of EU5 are really fun. I mean, okay, playing the Ottomans is like, it is to a degree easy mode because you're the fucking Ottomans. Ah. Yeah, I get you. No, we did play a bunch, but like quite literally our playthrough was like multiple times just fucked. Because like I played Naples once. You know what? I did start getting the hang of it. I think, you know, I played made a Naples run once and it was going really well. And unironically, what happened? I don't know which country did you play, by the way, during that?
I don't know.
I think you were in Sweden. You played Sweden, I played Naples, and I know I started building a trade empire because I was like, you know, I'm Naples, I should trade, and that actually made me a fuck ton of money. Then they released a patch. I boot up the game, my whole economics is fucked because trading was just not worth it anymore. Because they just changed how that worked. And it's like, why? What the fuck was that for?
Delta.
Yeah, it's like... this is probably the one thing that really just pissed me off because, like, then we also had a bit of an Ottoman thing going on, but, like, that also just went through the ringer multiple times because, again... What was it? During one time you should just, like, delete all your trade because how trade volume, like, impacts... Or, like, how that... what your country needs is, like... It was a weird calculation thing. They changed. It's just like, why? Why would someone do this? Anyway, it is definitely that, but like I also just will say, there's a bunch of frustration with that game. We probably will look back into it at some point because they now made a big patch that fixed some stuff, but I don't know if it now is the whole worthwhile coming back time. Wiki 3 next update looks fantastic though, but that's a different topic. But yeah, the Wittelsbachers were like, they were pretty, they actually got pretty far around, Wiki 3 is amazing. Again, the naval rework looks so good. I'm like, it is insane how much that will change the game though. Even though it's now a JRPG, yay! Technically.
You should definitely use it for a grand strategy game for...
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't know.
That's the thing. That's also what I... Wait, what? Okay. Do you know how they reworked naval combat?
What they plan to.
Or how they plan to rework naval combat? Okay, yeah, basically, for everyone who doesn't know how the new naval combat is supposed to work, basically, Yeah, boats are now unique entities and are counted as unique entities with their own stats. And basically, how the combat now works is that all the boats roll for initiative that are, in a formation. And then you're like, okay, now we have your turn order, basically. But when a boat... okay, a boat can basically... What?
When a boat does an action.
Doesn't actually. It can attack or retreat. Whatever it does, when it attacks, its preparedness is set to 0. And preparedness is basically a bar that fills from, 0 to 100, like an ATB bar from Final Fantasy. And that's how it basically like, it does something, the bar fills, it can do something again. It's basically an automated ATB system, which is also why I also told Agonia they should really go to Square Enix and be like, hey, we could make like a Final Fantasy grand strategy game off of this system, because holy shit, yes. Like, if you have a system where you can have individual entities, for example, heroes in a party or so, with unique stats that, have kind of a solid auto battle system that is already similar to the stuff that, they did anyway, you could just make a game around that. And you know what? They should definitely put it in the same world as Final Fantasy XII, because A, it would be very fucking hilarious to have another game set in that world, and then that world would span traditional mainline game, small scale tactics spin-off, and grand strategy. also feels like reinventing. I mean, it is, but it's also just like really interesting, and I do hope this will be used for. I do think this will be the basis to rework normal battles and armies to a degree, because I do think it will be more important what kind of weaponry armies use and what armaments they have compared to now, where you just basically stat increase your whole soldier stacks. It would be great. Also, like, imagine if you could create the Viera Empire and you have like the Benui Girl army walking across the field. Would be cool.
We have secured more objectives. Let's hold it.
Armored vehicles prepped and ready to go.
Great run for April. What do you mean with that? Great run for... You know what? It would actually be a good April Fool's joke, yeah. You could... Oh my god. I mean, considering that April Fool's is usually like... it's usually used as a... a test run for a lot of stuff. They could definitely do that. Holy shit. Ah, Bunny Month. Ah. So honestly, yeah, that would definitely fit really well. Like, I'd probably play a lot of that game. Truth be told, I'd play a lot of that. Like, I do think, the irony is that probably Paradox Interactive might be the last bastion of, like, good grand strategy in 4X games. Because, like...
Alright, we now control more objectives. Secure our defenses.
Like, for example, if anyone would come to me and be like, oh, hey, could Square Enix develop a new Final Fantasy Tactics? I would say, probably not. Probably not in the same, with the same snappiness and depth that the original one had. Because, like, they did Triangle Strategy and that shit was over, like, we played the demo, that was overloaded. That was just not the same, it snappy thing. I could totally see Triumph Studios pull it off, though.
Maybe.
Despite everything, I could see them. Like, this is just a
I know they made a lot of good things, but if they have one thing they lost, then it is snappiness, coherency. Like since Age of Wonders 3, they never.
Fully got back there, yeah. Yeah, I do think at the very least the new if they actually apply the new combat, like marine combat, to normal combat, it will open up so much for especially mods. It will be so much more interesting for mods.
The enemy has secured more objectives. Let's rally and counter.
Games need less mechanics and more level design. I do get what they mean. I would disagree though to a degree, because like there are definitely games where they do need a bit more mechanics, but like let's just also be clear here.
Better designed mechanic.
What? Better designed ones. Yeah, because I do think a lot of games nowadays just miss the point. I think one of my best examples is like is still Payday 3, because like it is just the most egregious example of someone not getting it, you know, figuratively. Because like, yeah, Payday 3 does need better level design as well, but also it does need better mechanics to even have better level design. You get what I mean? Like, for example, a good... oh hey, you want to make, like, when I, for example, look at a lot of, you know, survival horror games, for example, with, like, the indie ones come out. And I think one of the big things that people always kind of forcefully overlook is that, yeah, the level design is much simpler, but also the mechanical depth just isn't there. And that leads to the fact that the level design has to be more simple. They are gimmicks. Most of them are just straight up gimmicks. Like, I don't even know where to start, like how many good mechanics are just like left on the cutting floor, because like, you know, sometimes a game uses a mechanic and it doesn't work. Happens. But like a lot of times it's also just like yeah, I mean, because like, for example, again, the most egregious thing I would point out at Payday 3 is it's just the fact that they worked like lockpicking, for example, into a minigame. And it's solely on the assumption that that lockpicking needs to be engaging. The irony about this is, lockpicking being a bar that fills allows so much more, like, yeah, that's the thing. Everyone's like, oh, it's just a bar that fills, or just a check. And like, yeah, but the thing is, when you talk about RPG systems, or like, in general, interconnected gameplay systems, having it bars and or chance-based actually allows you to add way more outside vectors, which is way more interesting than, especially when it's a single-player game, the game pauses and you can just do the mini-game. Like, I know there's a weird thing about, you know, there's a whole thing about, oh, but what about save scumming and such? And like, we can talk a lot about, you know, how people should save or so in games, and like sometimes that is sensible to have and sometimes not, but like also, you know what would make it so that you can't just lockpick everything on the first try?
We've lost control of Delta.
You just have a chance to lockpick. As if I've never... I also totally never did that. No, that's just... No. Never. No. Anyway, the thing is,
We have lost Echo.
the thing is, like, in Payday, you know, yeah, it is a bar that fills, and you can just lockpick some doors. Meanwhile, in 3, it's, oh, you know, you need to make a timing minigame, like, 2 or 3 times. Like, you hit it at the right time, and then the lock is fixed. Or, you know, there's a perk that if you have it, if you have one successful, then it just opens instantly, and, like, I guess that's the fact that this is the extent of which you can influence that, while a Payday 2 has multiple ways of influencing it, should tell you everything. Because the thing is, the moment you make it a bar, it's about, okay, hey, nope, I want my stuff back. Nope. There we go. Because you can make it so that, you know, stuff make it, it goes faster. And, you know, considering this is also a stealth game where you maybe want to do things fast before an NPC walks in sightline, well, that actually is pretty useful. Then you also have the fact that you could even have things that could decrease, you know, increase that again. It is engaging. You know, suddenly, oh, you have a whole, yeah, oh yeah, sorry, the whole, yeah, if it's a bar, it's actually more engaging because suddenly you have to make much more deliberate decisions in what you want to go for in your build, because there's a straight up and down side to stuff. Meanwhile, you know, how you lockpick in Payday 3 is like, I don't think it was like in any build ever, and I don't know if it's anything relevant in the Skills 2.0 system, but I haven't played in a while. Well, okay, I lied. I booted up the game yesterday. I just wanted to see if a glitch was still working, so I didn't need to like level up to like, because I still need like 20 to 30 levels to have like everything from Skills 2.0 unlocked, which, yeah, that's the thing. The irony is that you sometimes need to make your game, like,
The enemy now controls more objectives.
let me put it like this. You can always structure your game in basically priority orders. Like, if you make mechanics, like, what are relevant mechanics? As in, like, you need to engage with those mechanics. And then you have, like, and the lower the priority order, these mechanics are still relevant, but they should not always come into the focus. Like, I'd say this is probably one of those reasons why, for example, Back 4 Blood was, to a degree, like, kind of hated when it came out. Excuse me for that.
We have secured Charlie.
Because, like, people kind of just wanted to, play a game where you know, go around and you shoot zombies. But then you had to build your perk deck in a certain order, because that's the order you unlock perks, you know, level by level. And then you also had to basically play around that and just pick up specific guns of specific upgrades. And it wasn't a... It just was like a lot of things you constantly had to keep in mind while you were playing, you know, the oh god, there's a horde of zombies on my ass game. A really tough one, might I add. Like, the launch Back 4 Blood was bullshit hard. So you know what they did? They made the perk decks skill builds. You just select 15 cards, that's your base build. Everything you find outside, that's on top. It made the game instantly so much better. It's a fantastic game now, actually. Like, I really recommend it, because if you have everything and you can, like, play on the beginning, you actually now can whittle down the main things you do to shoot zombies, pick up maybe a better gun, and that's cool. Because you don't need to worry about, you know, oh, what do I pick next? What would fit in there? Because, you know, oh, I already have a build about healing well, or, you know, a build about shooting well, or a build about just smashing everything to shits because I'm on fucking meth and I keep regenerating my temporary health. Melee builds are so bullshit strong, but they're amazing. But, like, also, you can't not only run melee builds, but you need 1 or 2 melee builds. Like, the game is really good. It's, by the way, in the current Humble Bundle for like $10, so if anyone is like, oh hey, I would like to try that game out, you can actually get it really, really cheap. You know, with a bunch of other co-op games. I can generally say all of them are pretty good. I would probably would say Killing Floor 2 is also big, but I don't have Killing Floor 2 yet. Sorry. If you ever wish like, oh, is there gonna be, because you like co-op games here, is there ever gonna be a Killing Floor 2 stream? Not in the near time, because I don't have Killing Floor 2. And Agonia also, so no Killing Floor 2. But yeah, no, Back 4 Blood is great. I really, it is one of those, if you have people to play with, and I really did want to get like, I did want to play, make a stream project with like maybe a few other people of getting through it on No Hope, which is like okay, we'll probably play a few times on Nightmare before we go into No Hope, because people should know how the things are. There are like some levels that are just, holy shit, are they still hard? Okay, so just to know why I think Back 4 Blood is actually really, really fun on No Hope. It's because, like, if you play on Nightmare, the game is challenging. Enjoyable, but challenging. But the thing is, basically, the core idea of the game was that, you know, you have your card decks, and, you know, every new mission, like, at launch, every new, you know, level, basically, you pulled out a new card. But also the game also pulled out a card, and on higher difficulties they pulled more cards. For example, I started with more cards. So now it's basically, when you play on Nightmare, the game starts with 5 random cards. It always has 5 random cards active each run. So those make things like, for example, there are bear traps all over the level, which are what I just said. Basically, there's a bear trap, and if you step on it, you're stuck, which is not good. Again, when there's like the zombie horde on your ass, or you know, certain variants of the like the special infected. Like everyone's like, oh, they just have 4 special infected. Yes, but also there are like 2 sub variants of each special infected. And then some different ones can spawn, like, for example, this, I think it's called Snitch. Basically, it's one that if you don't kill it fast enough, it alerts the horde, which people had problems with, but like, truth be told, it's one of those... it's one of those, if you have like one person with a really high damage build, they can just one-shot the thing, and it can't actually alert the horde. Which, you know, it's the whole point of, you need to build around stuff. I don't know, the thing is, stuff like that can happen. And yeah, Nightmare has 5 of those. That can get tough. Like, for example, on some levels, they, for example, the zombies will just have acid heads, like half of them, which quite literally is what it's. Basically, the whole. Imagine if every zombie was a mini spitter that exploded when you know, killed it. Again. Now with the new system, you can build around that. You can quite literally make a melee build that is just defensive for that. And you kind of need to, because, you know, it's one of those... Yeah, you need to really know what you're using in your builds. Okay. No Hope. No Hope is unfair. The game pulls 15 cards. Same as you. 15 fucking cards. And there are more zombies. And there are more special infected. Just baseline. Again, you are a super soldier. You like literally go in there and you can just maul hordes of zombies. from 5. The jump is from Nightmare, which is, 5, which is fun, and, some can be tough, some can be less tough. No Hope is just fuck you. No Hope is quite literally fuck you. Know what you're doing, or die.
And it's still the easier variant.
What?
It's still the easier variant than the original.
It's still easier than the original. The original was quite literally... Okay, so just how evil the original was. In the original you started with just the first 3 cards and pulled 1 each level. Plus, everything was just harder. Meaning, you actually had to build up over runs. So one person always had to go full support, so the other people could even have the damage builds to get to the later runs. Which always came to a grinding halt, because in the first chapter, like in the first campaign, there is this level, and it was also in the beta, they didn't change it, and I'm like, I salute you to them for that, because they knew this thing was hard. There's Pain Train. Pain Train ends runs. Period. Pain Train was bullshit. Because on the surface, it's like, is it that hard? Not really. Oh boy, it did kill you though. Because basically, you need to wait until, like gravel falls down so you can pass over a train car. Technically, not hard. In reality, that whole area is designed in a way that is just there to make you scream. But yeah,
You had also even more special impacted.
oh yeah, right.
Remember Horde of Tall Men?
I don't remember that.
The Tall Man.
Oh yeah, the tall man horde. Oh god, yeah, that was...
They were everywhere. So is it a tree? No, it's a tall man.
Again, if you have people to play with, Back 4 Blood is really fun. But like, oh...
Charlie is under attack.
It's definitely one of those, you need to know what you're doing or you just fucking die.
The enemy have taken more objectives.
Oh well. But yeah, in terms of Payday, yeah, it's the whole don't do mini games thing, because why? It's not, it's just dumb. Like, mini games are not, like, on the surface when someone says, oh, this is not engaging, it is. You probably just don't notice it because, like, maybe at some point it just becomes numb. Okay, but like... Anyway. I'm just like yelling here at this point. But yeah, you should not make things scary. Like, I think there's a lot of times, also the big thing you need to keep in mind. Hey, what even is a good main mechanic? Like, ironically, I would say, when we talk about things like Left 4 Dead like games, okay? I find it interesting that the whole rogue light element of you get random perks was basically a thing 2 groups that worked on Left 4 Dead 2 decided on.
We've neutralized Charlie.
Like, on one hand, you had Turtle Rock Studio that they were like, yeah, we put this into our game. And then you had Stray Bombay with the Anacrusis from Chad Falishek, who also were like, yeah, we're gonna make it a bit of an you know, you have certain points and levels where you can just get other perks, which is interesting. And I will say this might be one of those things that that is like, oh, hey, do people even like that? And the answer is apparently not really. Like, I do think a lot of people, like, I think this is one of those points where I would say, personally, I do like it. Like, I generally think, I just have a soft spot for games with, like, oh, hey, you kill hordes of something, and you have a bit of a class system, or, like, something like that on it. Like, for example, I also liked World War Z, which was, well, third-person Left 4 Dead with a class system. Well, now, basically, Back 4 Blood is you choose your character, which is kind of the base class. Yeah, like, having a bit of progression is neat. It's generally nice. It's also one of those things where, like, I don't want to be too harsh, because I do think this is, like, maybe the one key reason why a lot of the those games might draw ire, because I think a lot of people just don't want that in a Left 4 Dead type. Okay, people, I think the biggest problem is that people just keep assuming these games want to be Left 4 Dead 3 when they're not. And, like, kind of forget that Left 4 Dead 3 was supposed to be set in Morocco and had more of a Team Fortress 2 style, art style, and was open world with base building, which is like, okay, that's a decision. I mean, the whole getting something right is hard. Like, even when you have something down, holy shit, is it sometimes hard getting things right. Like, scary part of game dev, honestly, it is. How do you make things fun? Oh, totally. Like, here's an interesting thing. Like, I wrote about this today already with a few people, and I do say, I think the biggest hubris in game development is trying to make Left 4 Dead 3. Because what people want in terms of Left 4 Dead 3 is 100% not what you would like to do as a game. And, like, I really racked my brain around that, because I think it's a very fun thought exercise, because, like, I do think I have a plan of, like, how could you make, like, an actual sequel to Left 4 Dead 3 that would fulfill the criteria of, here are new mechanics that make the game fresh, but still keep it the thing people want from Left 4 Dead. However, then then I look at what I would like to make in a game, and I knew that would probably find an audience, but not the people that but it would still piss people off solely on the basis that, you know, it might have zombies, but it's not the thing that people want from that. Like, I mean, there's an interesting what's it called, flip-flopping in when we talk about zombies, by the way, in terms of you know, for example, Call of Duty Zombies. A thing I like that's probably the one reason I would have even kept playing Call of Duty over the last years to a degree, because I like zombies. It's fantastic. That's why I have Black Ops 3 on the PC. It's also why I would like to have Ghost for Extinction, but it's a different topic. And that thing, oh my god, like, that game kept reinventing itself to a pretty big degree. Because basically,
Attack support on the marked objective.
how should I put it in the best way?
Hostile forces hold more objectives. They're close.
There was a lot of times of just like, oh, it went too much in that direction, and it went too much in that direction. And, oh wow. Like, for example, basically the whole thing starts out as just, you're in this building, there are zombies, they're Nazi zombies. Keep in mind, this was a World War II game. Nazi zombies are attacking, defend yourself. Then it was like, okay, people really like this one. Let's try to expand it, and they basically went and made a, I mean, they still reused a lot of multiplayer map stuff. Until, like, I think the fourth map? Yeah, the fourth map. However, it is to a degree, how do you develop that? And, like, you know, when you start at the beginning, it's like bombed out building in the forest at night, mental asylum in Berlin. Then you had a swamp somewhere in Japan, in Southeast Asia, I think Indonesia or so. That was actually pretty, like, Shinum was pretty cool. And then you had weapons factory in Germany. So how do you follow that up? Well, old bombed out, you know, cinema, the old cinema after the after World War II, like early Cold War. You're like, okay, that's a decision. Then Russian, how are they called again? It's basically where they went to space. Aerodrome? Space drome? I don't know anymore. But yeah, basically where you know, do the whole go to space thing. With space monkeys! Zombie space monkeys! Yay! Hate this shit. Anyway, it's okay. And then like, oh, you know, you get a bit into the whole, it's you know, kind of a bit scientific, a lot of scientific, how's it called again? Science vibes. And then you're like, okay, how do I follow that up? So, in the middle of it, I was going to check the moon, but yeah, we get to that one, by the way. Because, okay, what are you gonna do next? Oh yeah, how about a frozen over ship in the Arctic Circle? And there is a crew, and you're playing a film crew made of real life actors. I'm not kidding, by the way. And you're getting chased around by George R. Romero. Zombie George R. Romero. No, that is generally what the what the map was. The next one. You were able to play. They literally got like a lot of the horror / action actors and just put them in a zombies map and let them chase around by the grandfather of zombies just because they could. And it's still connected to the main storyline. And then they went to you know, Lost Temple in the jungle. And then they went to the moon, as you said. That was a decision. Also, by the way, Nazi base on the moon. Because the Nazis were on the moon. As you do. Again, how do you go from that? Well, you see, at the end of Moon, you nuke the Earth. So, obviously, the next game starts with one of the biggest I think you're in Appalachia, and you have to just survive. Like, quite literally the post-apocalypse. It's for people, and
Be advised, Delta has been lost.
you know, it's mostly like you know, you drive around in a big robot bus, and then you get to a skyscraper in China in the apocalypse.
Thank you!
And then you're like, okay, okay. So the theme of this game is the apocalypse, right? So the next map is then set in the 1920s Alcatraz, where infernal dog heads look out of the wall. And everything is a bit weird because all the four people should be dead. And then you realize also, wait, the zombies have different glowing eyes, which just so you know, for everyone who doesn't know it, the eye color of the zombies in Call of Duty Zombies is ironically very relevant, because it basically indicates who controls them. There can be basically like free ones, and like some different people have different control and like different eye colors due to that. And then you're like, oh, okay, good. How the hell did we get here? And then it turns out, oh, well, it's a pocket dimension made by someone. And you're like, wait, we're talking about pocket dimensions now? What the fuck is this supposed to be purgatory? And then suddenly it goes, yeah, here's a buried western town under the earth in South Africa or so. And like, what? So it just gets weirder. And you're like, okay, what is the next thing they could go to? How about French Warfare World War I with diesel punk robot enemies and giant robots walking across the field? Also, ancient ruins beneath. That's where the game ended.
We're moving on Delta. We're losing on all fronts. Target their positions.
No, it was not normal World War One. It was a different dimension World War One, but still. I mean, they had giant robots, so that should tip you off, I guess. Then you had like, I'm sure that happened in real life. Could happen, maybe. Who knows what happened in World War One? It's not like we have a lot of footage from it. Anyway. And yeah, then the next game just pulls out all the hits, like,
Enemy holds all positions. We need to recover ground.
1920s, city with, hanging monorail system. Or, I mean, you know, Nazi facility in a castle on a mountain, or Stalingrad, but it's the Soviet mech army versus the Nazi dragon horde. No, seriously, that is a map. It's a map. They made Stalingrad, but there were robots and mechs versus dragons.
Clear. Pilots are free to engage. We're attacking Delta.
The Nazis, sorry. From what I remember, it was the Nazis, because the Soviets had the mechs. I need to check again, but how the fuck did that thing get in here? The thing is just, everyone basically said, oh, hey, this got too wild, and, so interestingly, the next game they made a massive shift, because, I actually also don't know. It's just wild. But yeah, basically what happened is that they then had a very big shift the next game, because a lot of people were starting to be like, well, basically two things. First off, they were like, the game got way too outlandish and wild. Okay, I guess fair? But also, people said the game was getting too easy. Haha. Which I guess is also fair. Also, yeah, down the helicopter with a rocket launcher.
Objective marked. We need you supporting the attack.
So, what basically happened is that, they started, on one hand, remaking maps from previous games with slight twists, which were kind of cool. But also, again, now we get into the whole what should we do phase. Because basically in the previous games, it was more like the movement got expanded. There were more perks. And also there were gobblegums, which was basically like you had kind of a perk stockpile. And you could always pull a gobblegum at a gobblegum machine from your stockpile randomly and have like 3 on your hand. And you could activate them and they would give you, you know, random stuff. It was also used for monetization, but you could still grind them. And it was like one of those, if you really played a lot of zombies, you had too much on your hand anyway. And they were kind of an interesting thing because, you know, expanded the whole system a lot. But as a lot of people point out, it also made the game really fucking easy if you had like the right gobblegums and planned ahead. So they kind of reworked how gobblegums worked into tonics. They changed vastly how perks worked, because like now it was like, oh, you had a lot of perks, but you had to select 4 perks that you could pull from the 4 perk machines on the map. So you had to select which perk machine holds which. And yeah, it still allowed you to modify stuff, but they also, for example, removed perks like Juggernog. And Juggernog, okay, Juggernog just doubles your health. So you went from 150 to 300, for example. That was a thing that was that was one of the first perks. And yeah, Juggernog did make the game a lot easier, because like at some point, if you just double your health, you could just tank way more hits for way longer. And now you have the problem. This thing just, like, Black Ops 4 basically just split the player base in half, like in multiplayer and in zombies. Because some people like this, really like this. For them, this was just like, oh, hey, this is perfect, because suddenly the game was, you know, more about planning, strategizing, and thinking. And for a lot, it was just suddenly, oh no, I need to... The game just got unreasonably harder from what it was before, because... yeah. And you know what I mean with that, right? Also, ironically, a bunch of the, like half of the maps were suddenly stuff like, oh, you're in an ancient Roman Colosseum fighting zombie tigers and zombie elephants. Okay, 9 was a great map. It generally were pretty cool. Or, hey, the Titanic. No, literally, they had a map that was just the Titanic. They explained the Titanic sinking in the zombies universe because someone initiated like an ancient ritual that transformed the Titanic into a trial with zombies on them, and you had to and after everyone was turned back, they just couldn't react to the iceberg fast enough. That is their explanation. So yeah, they had a bunch of that stuff. There's also map in like ancient in Delphi. One in like an old like I think New England mansion. Honestly, it's also from what I know like an actual almost one-to-one recreation of the Titanic. So like it's accurate from the floor plan. There was like similar to Alcatraz, because like Alcatraz, the map is also the same. Like they actually remade Alcatraz in 4 just to actually have all the parts of Alcatraz in it that they couldn't fit into Black Ops 2 because the map was too big for the processing size. Anyway, stuff like that. You know, the game goes down. But hey, where do you go next? Because basically, a lot of people generally a weird place to focus on realism. I mean, fair, but it's still kind of cool, you know? Yeah, what basically happened is a lot of people then thought the game was just a lot of times too weird, but also it was too hard. So the next game basically rolled everything back and went to a more, you know, grounded setting. Still a bit more interesting places, but like the first map in Black Ops Cold War was literally here's Nacht der Untoten, but with just more stuff around it and this subterranean lab. Also, they changed the game to be easier again, you know, not completely easy, but you know, the whole you really need to strategize around everything just got made easier because they suddenly made stuff like, oh, you can just have all perks now. And now there's an armor system, and was this easier than the previous games? Yeah. Truth be told, this is probably the zombies game I played the most because it was also the most fun. I still don't know what happened to compared to Black Ops 6, because I do agree that a lot of people would say that, you know, Cold War just had like 5 maps and they were like good. And Black Ops 6 is basically that, but more. Like they were like this, like Gobblegum is back and stuff, but like I don't really play that much of 6, which is weird. But yeah, basically the thing about after Cold War was everyone was like, oh, it's just that they basically just made like military installations in the game. So Cold War was like, so 6 was like, hey, let's have an old castle in France, a ruined dig site with like underground ruins. And I was like, yeah, it's actually pretty cool. And but then everyone was like, yeah, you know, there's missing a little bit. And then Black Ops 7 rolls around, is like, so you're in a weird dimension now, and here you are on a big field, which is basically a bombed out southern US Confederate town. What? Next map, you're in a skull floating. You're on a comet shaped like a skull, where there's an planetarium on top, and it's floating around the rings of Saturn in space.
Our forces have neutralized Delta.
What?
Objective Delta is under our
Yeah, they just went straight back to jumping the shark again, which is just hilarious. Seems to have worked though, mostly.
Our forces have light armored vehicles cleared for combat.
Yeah, fair point. Like, you know, the whole playing it normal for a bit, I did appreciate that. I do wish they had a bit more variety in it. Like, again, I think the Cold War one was really good, but like, Black Ops 6 was just, eh. And 7 is, I don't even have 7, because of a lot of reasons, but 7 looks actually kind of interesting. even though they did piss people off recently again by basically they said in pre-release that they would only make new maps for Black Ops 7, and the newest map is Paradox Junction, which is the second remake of Nuketown Zombies. Granted, all of them play different. It's just okay.
We are attacking objective Delta.
We've neutralized Delta.
Yeah, you know, that's just like one of those, we only have new maps, and technically you could say, yes, Paradox Junction is not Alpha and Omega and not Nuketown Zombies, because, just so you know, which is also why I'm a bit pissed, because I kind of would like to have stuff like Nuketown Zombies back, but that's a different topic, because Nuketown Zombies was just Nuketown, like, you know, the small multiplayer map, with all the, you know, with all the small pathways, like, barricaded to a degree, but also, crucially, the big gimmick of Nuketown Zombies was that the Pack-a-Punch machine and the perk machines fell from the sky, randomized, so you never knew when or where you would get Juggernaut, for example, which on a, you know, small map is kind of relevant to have. So even though, you know, double tap, for example, like, you know, you shoot 2 bullets at the same time, it's really useful. You see what I mean? It was a kind of a fun map. And then they do Alpha and Omega, and it's like, oh, it's Nuketown, but they also expanded it down south to include those houses, and there's a whole, you know, underground laboratory complex to it. Okay. And now Paradox Junction is, I think the laboratory complex is gone, but you still have, you know, the stuff to the south, and it's, I don't think there's anything parked in the center of, like, the, cul-de-sac. But the big gimmick is you can switch basically between 2 versions, like, it's time travel. You, on a button press, you can travel, between, basically the future after the bomb went off and, to the past before the bomb went off. And, oh, yeah, you know, that's kind of interesting, and they have some fun puzzles in there, but, you know. Technically, all 3 different maps. They're also kind of Nuketown all the time.
Secure our defenses.
God. Anyway,
The attack.
Zombies is a fun game, but that's the worst part. Buying Call of Duty twice because you want to play it with your girlfriend is not really feasible because they never really go on sale, and that's stupid. It's so stupid, actually. And just so you know, I really like playing co-op games with Agonia. Or you know, general people, because I just love co-op games. Like, there's a reason I do want to get I want to play with her, you know, Resident Evil 5 and 6 and, you know, Revelations 2 at some point, because then I can play raid mode with her, and raid mode in 2 is amazing. And also, I know she will like raid mode because it is one of the co-op games where you can actually have melee builds for your characters. And yeah, you can play Albert Wesker katana build, so you can slash the zombies and then left hook them to death. I see her smiling already. I know, it's like, it's this dumb shit of like, oh, you know, you want to play something that's co-op, and it's, you know, usually really fun to play with people, but like get people to actually Wesker Katana build. It's possible and it's very much viable. Let me tell you that. There are also like sniper builds with literal auto aim. Because okay, basically one of the big things that raid mode has for weapons is that you can get basically upgrades for weapons that you can just slot onto nearly every weapon build. And so, for example, in Revelations 2 raid mode, there is one that you can turn you can turn weapons full auto, no matter what weapon that is. So, oh hey, you have a pump action shotgun, it's full auto now. You have a sniper rifle, it's full auto now. There's also a mod that basically lets you hit a zombie's head when you shoot just close enough. So you can have a full auto sniper that just headshots zombies. It's glorious. It's fucking glorious. It is. It is one of those you need to invest a lot of time, but truth be told, the game, this was a mode that was basically made that you sink in a lot of time. The co-op games is just like, you know, you can play them alone, but it's just not the same. Like, for example, Back 4 Blood, getting a no-hope playthrough at some point. I do wish we would have like 2 more people to actually get this one down that would be there consistently, because that just makes the whole affair easier and more fun. Similarly, for example, I also, you know, we did play through Borderlands together, which was enjoyable, I would say, to a degree. And I do want to play Borderlands 2 with her already, but also at some point. But also, I'm just gonna be honest with you here, it would just be more fun if we had a 3rd or 4th person, because Borderlands is just way more fun if you have more people on the team. I mean, she still wants to play the Gunzerker because she loves Creek, but the Gunzerker is just strong, so...
I would play the Gunzerker if I play Borderlands 2 again.
And I can do something like the Siren because a support build would probably be going good. But yeah. Having people consistently sign up for co-op games is like... There was a single time when I regretted playing Borderlands 2 co-op. Oh no, what happened? Was there a fallout when you were playing with someone? That's always the dumbest. I got the friendly fire perk. Oh, what was that again?
Well, from the name...
Yeah, I think you, as a friend group, found it really funny to keep shooting me. Oh, what does the friendly fire perk again? I really forgot it.
Be advised, we no longer control objective Delta.
Yeah, that's the thing. You need to also have people that don't behave like that. Oh, right. Because, you know, Krieg wants low health, so actually makes sense.
Depends on the build, but yes.
Yeah, but also, like, Krieg is definitely more of a solo character.
Well, for solo character, the most fun character.
Mm-hmm.
Defensive position needed on the marked objective.
That's true. Krieg is very fun.
We no longer hold Echo.
Yeah, you know, it's not surprising that they kind of try to expand on the melee part with the Siren in Borderlands 3 due to that, because they knew people liked the whole melee focus build from Krieg.
We now hold Echo.
Like, they genuinely I think, after the pre-sequel, they always had someone with a melee build, which should tell you everything that they learned from Krieg.
Yeah, but Krieg is more than just a melee build.
He's also just like insane. I know.
No, he's very funny.
And
Stop calling him insane. He had no psyche variation.
okay, he is.
He is clinically not insane. No clinic.
You know that you're really staking this that on a technicality now,
Yes.
girl. You are so lucky that I'm actually very possessive because you are testing my nerves sometimes so hard. Yeah, Krieg is very fun. Yeah. I do want to get through the Borderlands series at some point on this channel because I like them. I do want to show why I like them, I guess. Yeah, at some point, Borderlands 2. And well, you know...
What's the best thing about Krieg? If your party is like indecisive, or like if you're competing ideas on what to do, you can just say, okay, we're siding with PvP, and Krieg usually wins.
That is, yeah, that's the thing you can do. I know.
We neutralized objective Echo.
But yeah. I still don't know what I would play if we ever get to the pre-sequel. Probably Athena, because, the lesbian. But we have to see. Does it hitting people really hard works great? It works. It works surprisingly well. It's just like, you know, it's the argument enhancer.
We no longer control objective Delta.
Do 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 do.
Vehicles cleared for combat. We've begun our assault on Echo.
Explosive ready! Advised, hostiles attacking objective Delta.
Ah, you mean the,
The enemy has
how's it called? The sheriff. Yeah, I get it. She also looked fun. I mean, considering now there's also the DLC characters out, there could be, because, you know, we do play it co-op, I think there could be the case for, playing, how's she called again? The sister of, oh, how was he called again? Yeah, Lady Hammerlock. Because she has kind of the most interesting support ability I know of. Because quite literally, Lady Hammerlock. Because she has literally a perk that makes her go into a master-servant relationship with another player. And they have buffs and such working on and off of each other. And like,
We are attacking
Okay, they were cooking with that idea. I'm just saying that.
Objective Echo is now under our control.
True wars are definitely very happy. Very funny. I get you with that.
All forces control more objectives than the enemy. Friendlies have secured objective Delta.
Our forces hold a majority of objectives. We're close to taking ground.
Also snipers, can't complain.
Our forces have heavy armor cleared for combat.
Yeah, I think she has snipers, so that's actually pretty useful. Not the biggest sniper person in Borderlands in that regard. But yeah. Oh well. Yeah, in general co-op games it's kind of hard to just you know what the worst part is? I think it's the whole
We are moving on objective Charlie.
I tend to go towards build that make a single number go really high. I mean that's you know what? That's actually very fair. A single number that is very high is like
We've neutralized Charlie.
I mean that's kind of the whole shtick for how's it called again? The Gunzerker in 2, but mainly because of one perk really.
Hostile attack post on Delta.
But like
All forces control more objectives.
the thing is with co-op games, I think that is probably more the problem that that needs to be talked about. Is the fact that people always say, "Oh yeah, I like playing that." They always like to sign up, but then they get weird when you like to commit to them. Actually, when you mean it, it's like, listen, I asked you if you had interest in that, not for 1 or 2 evenings. I was like, when I talked about I want to play Back for Blood, I wanted to, you know, fucking get the game through. Or you know, playing Borderlands. Yeah, sorry, I kind of wanted to play that regularly, co-op. And then people are like, they get really weird about that when you know, point out, oh hey, I actually do mean that. And like, even when you tell them I do want to actually, you know, take that seriously and want to invest time in it, they're also like, oh yeah, no problem. And then they're like, oh, I actually don't want to invest time in it. Then why did you agree? Why the hell did you agree? It's just...
Mostly it's not even a time problem, it's more of a I don't want to
play it anymore.
not necessarily, although it comes down to it ultimately. Not put any effort into it. That's what I wanted to say.
Also, I've been trying to play V Rising with some people for a while, but couldn't get more than 2 or 3 sessions out of it. Yeah, that's definitely dumb. Like, listen, if both parties want to play together, at some point we should just, you know, you should talk about the fact that we should just play together. Like, it shouldn't be too hard to make some room. Like, you know what? I keep saying the #1 reason for why you should have a polycule is you actually have people that consistently would tune in for TTRPG sessions and co-op games. Just get more girlfriends. That's the solution.
Be advised, we no longer control objective Delta. Move to attack the marked objective.
Hostiles are assaulting Charlie.
We are attacking objective Delta. Hostiles now hold more objectives. Out. Alright, our forces control more objectives than the enemy. Good work.
Attack support needed on the marked objective.
The enemy has secured more objectives. Let's rally and counter. Hostiles have taken all objectives. Regroup and get us back into the fight. Our forces are hitting Delta.
Well. Well, I think now we ran out of topics. Damn. A successful evening, I would say, but we still have like half an hour, or less than half an hour.
Our attack on Echo is underway.
Like, I don't know. Yeah, I just think when it comes to games, we really need to have just a bit more. And I wrote about this today. I do think we need to start having a better mentality around how games should be developed. Because, like, listen, there are some moments where I can say, yep, that was dumb, and it should not have happened like that. Like, you know, there's... Like, I do think most games generally come out and they're fixable. Like, fixable in the sense that you can actually work with what you have there and make it fun. You know? I think that is actually the case for the majority of games out there. I think that's also fine because, like, listen, Payday, when I look at Payday 2, okay? Which is, in my opinion, actually a fantastic example. Yeah, you look at a game with, like, over 10 years of content. Now, the content was not the relevant thing why people kept playing Payday 2. Like, for example, some of the heists that Agonia liked the most were just, like, most stealth heists. Those are not all of the heists. You still like playing some loud, because DSOD loud is actually fun, but here's the thing. But you already hear what I mean with that, right? It was fun to play. Payday 2 had this long-ass staying power because the gameplay loop it had was really, really good. That's, by the way, also the same thing why Left 4 Dead 2 is also still around. Because it's one of those games that you can just say, hey, do you want to play? And it's a very simple gameplay loop that everyone can grasp. There's a certain amount of depth in there. And you can just play. Why people still play it. And then you look at Payday 3 and like, if Payday 3 offered a gameplay loop that was, you know, good, but maybe different in some case, but they could have changed it up. Like the fact they have more more NPCs on the maps is actually kind of interesting. I do think the whole having more stages of stealth is also good, but also like you can see how the stealth system is like the only thing that where any thought would flow into, which is why stealth in Payday 3 is like the one thing that feels like finished and polished, and even that has some problem with the level design. But like I find it kind of curious when a game has so much content that's entirely incompatible with one of the main playstyles. What do you mean with that exactly? But yeah, it's the whole, you could have definitely made a Payday 3 game that was different so people would switch between them, but they didn't really do that. The game that always comes to mind for me when I say that is Dishonored. Oh, you mean the IMSM games? Yeah, I get you. It's kind of funny because, yeah, I mean, Dishonored is kind of a bad stealth game, if we're honest, even though there's a whole, you can do everything non-lethal when it's like,
But why?
yeah, it is the thing. You have so many tools and like, you go for low chaos. And like, yeah, it's like, you look basically at the buffet and then it's like, if you want to do that, don't. Like, that reminds me of the whole, oh, you can't kill any humans in Metro Exodus or Metro in general, because else you get a bad ending. And I just feel like, listen, there are some factions that I didn't want to kill. Could I have Blink, I guess. Thanks. Yeah. I think that is probably one of the biggest problems when you have a playstyle that is just not doing... Again, I do think Deus Ex actually did it much better, and this is also why I would say Payday 2 works to a big degree, because Payday 2 is basically just a simplified Deus Ex. Let's just be fucking real here. It's an IMSIM. It's an online co-op IMSIM. It's because... First of all, the biggest strength that Deus Ex has over all the other games is it's an actual RPG. That sounds weird because people are like, oh, but the shooting feels weird. No. Your assumption is, and I mean that quite literally, is that because we have a gun, it should work like every other shooter. That's a you problem. Stop that. And if you insist it has to do that, stop playing video games altogether. You're quite literally just doing it fascism right now. And you're like, wait, how is that fascistic? Because the idea of everything needing conforming to certain norms is inherently fascistic. It's anti-art, okay? And you think it's normal because it is just a feeling that you have, and you would really need to go doing some introspection if you have to accept that there are multiple ways of solving problems, and quite literally, making shooting bad is a good thing in Deus Ex. Because here's the thing, everyone can point towards, oh, you can't be good in everything. True. But here's another thing why it's good. This is also why it also works. In System Shock, by the way. In System Shock 2 and in Deus Ex, everything has a point. You go into a level and you can usually do things. Like when we played System Shock 2 co-op, Agonia had things to hack, I had things to shoot. Agonia couldn't really shoot that well. I couldn't hack. So here's the thing. Yeah, and co-op, it really just supplements each other so well because, suddenly you're like, oh, when you play single player, especially in Deus Ex, this makes it so that, like, imagine if the guns were good in Deus Ex. You'd had the Dishonored problem. Because because in Deus Ex, the RPG system leads to the fact that, yeah, you're skilling into things you want to use, but you also do not feel bad for not using the rest because you know they suck. You're inherently filtering out what your tool set is. Meanwhile, Deus Ex just gives you the whole tool set and basically said, use however you want it to do, and this will feel shit because, yeah, oh, you want to make an,
I mean, you can just invest in weapons. Then you're good with weapons.
yeah,
Problem solved.
yeah, and that's the thing. If you want to kill people in Deus Ex, you make a build where you can kill people in Deus Ex really well. But then you're also basically, making yourself and for the game a mental note of, I'm gonna kill people. This is not going to be a pacifist run. However, when you want to do a pacifist run in Deus Ex, you can skill into things that lets you go around things, but it also makes the things worthless that would encourage you to kill. So you don't actually feel bad not using them because you're like, yeah, I never invested in that. Why should I use it?
On the topic of assumptions, remember when some people try to claim what was it? Morrowind.
Oh, Morrowind, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, the same problem there. Like, it was first person, so people assumed they should be able to hit everything they saw that they could hit.
Yeah. But no. Morrowind has a chance-based system. You need to skill into things or they are worthless. That's the point of Morrowind. You're making a build where some things are good and other things you ignore. It is basically building your playstyle instead of you need to ignore things. Because that's the irony about games like Skyrim and Dishonored and all of those. They do not work. I mean like on a fundamental gameplay design idea. They do not work because they rely on you not using things to pretend there are multiple play styles, which you could say is technically a thing on paper, but let's just be real here. This isn't a you play that way because that's the way you build your character. It's a you just ignore the rest way. You're just slightly better at the other things. Okay, for example, Skyrim. When you skill into, for example, two-handed weapons, most of the game, yeah, you will one-hit people very easily with that. You can still use bows. Because bows, okay, stealth archery is just broken, but yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem. Stealth archery is good. A not small amount of perks in Skyrim don't work or don't work as you would expect them to.
Yeah.
And yes, stealth archery is simply too good. Like, there is no reason not to.
The stealth archery is ironically the one thing they keep using because it's probably also the one build where all the perks, where all the skills actually do things. Yeah, by the way, if you're wondering, wait, what do you mean with that? For example, bleed damage doesn't work. I mean, it happens, but it's
based on your unmodified base weapon damage, so without any skill investment, which is not much.
It's bad in that regard. To the point where you're just like, wait, why didn't it just scale off of your? Well, guess what what they just never thought about. And then it doesn't require investment. You can always just pick up the bow and fall back on it. Yep. Because there is no, you don't hit someone. There's no, you need to increase ranges to do that. Ranges in where you do damage, etc.
And if you have skills in there, that's even better because you have also good crit multiplier, etc.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, destruction magic is the only damage skill, quote unquote, that only increases additively, not multiplicatively.
Yeah, which just
makes it completely useless the higher you go on difficulty.
Yep, bad scaling. I mean, oh, but wasn't the structure magic really strong in the previous games? Yeah. So they've gutted it. Similarly, oh hey, you have, oh, you can ignore armor. Is a skill that is factually useless. Because you're like, oh, but enemies have armor. No. Their models have armor, but their stats don't. There are only like 5 or 10 enemies in the game that have armor values. Quite literally, this would have just been solved in giving enemies armor system. Or, you know, oh hey, are there different weapon damage types? Ironically, they probably were planned for that. You know, see, for example, Oblivion, where they literally tell you use a mace against skeletons. But there is none. It's the same. You don't need to use maces against skeletons. It's bullshit. The game lies to you. And yeah, that's the thing. RPG systems need to matter. Like, I'm sorry, the thing about Payday 2 is that you can generally do everything to a degree in a heist. But, I mean, it's a co-op game. It kind of has to. You're always under time pressure. The thing is just, that time pressure, that horde pressure, is the key why the game works off of the skill system anyway. Because, like, people who don't spec into drills, their drills suck. Meaning you can have someone on a team who's like really good at shooting, but they will not take over the drill. Someone should take over the drill and hacking and all of that. People will be horribly slow if they don't have the back carrying perk. So you probably need to pick up some stuff like that. How do you ship a game with an armor piercing perk without an armor system anyways? Bethesda, apparently.
Well, technically there is an armor system, it's just not applied to 99% of the enemies.
Yep. That's the thing. It's just not applied. You know what? The irony is, I would say, I would, like, if Todd Howard ever hears this, hey Todd, I would love to remake Skyrim. But like in the literal sense of, I want to fix the RPG mechanics and overhaul some stuff. Like, I do not want to replace Skyrim. I do think your game should be there, but I think there should be like an official version of the RPG part works and has more meaning. Because ironically, Skyrim is almost close to that. It really doesn't need a lot to be a more interesting game.
Yeah, that's the interesting part. Like, the higher you go in difficulty, the more obvious it becomes where the RPG system falls apart.
Yeah.
And some other systems suddenly gain meaning.
Yeah, it's like, for example, enemies hit really hard. So you just start making vegetable soup, because vegetable soup gives you a passive health regeneration buff, which is really fucking good. But then, you know, everything else just breaks. I mean, we're coming back to the whole people wanting some more curated experiences, because, like, I think the Dishonored problem is now showing more and more, because, yeah, it's just a game that relies on, like, let me just put it like this. I do think a lot of the, openness towards games like Skyrim and Dishonored back when they came out, and, like, I'm not saying those games are bad. Like, I am firmly in the camp of, I like Skyrim, and I will not say it's bad. It's just not the best Elder Scrolls game out there. But, like,
And it has problems.
But like, if you could make an argument that Skyrim is your worst Elder Scrolls game, you have an insane track record. I'm just saying it right now. The problem is, you know, I want to say, like, is it your worst game? Then before Starfield, people would beef about Fallout 3, and I'm like, I think Fallout 3 is better than Skyrim due to a bunch of things, but let's just say that. Like, I don't even think Fallout 3 is that bad. Anyway, I just say, Skyrim has ironically very easy to fix problems that no one ever with mods does, because all the mod people want to add hunger bars, and I'm like, why? Why do you hate fun? It's... Can I just point out that so many survivalist mods is just like so teenage brained of like, oh, I'm making the game more hardcore, and like, yeah, I'm fun.
I think survival elements can be really fun.
Oh, survival games can be fun if you actually build the game around it. But elements, yeah, but like it depends on how you implement and what you do.
That's true.
Everyone usually just goes completely overboard with them. Hashtag realism. I hate realism. I absolutely hate when people are like, but this is more realistic. Fuck off.
It's so fun that you say that, but you played Outward with me.
Shit hit! Okay. Okay, but Outward isn't really realistic. Outward just has good mechanics.
Outward has great mechanics. And everything, every RPG should copy them. Sorry. Like, if we ever get a COD moment for RPGs, it should be Outward.
Oh yeah.
Go back to skill trainers. Go back to burning resources. Fun.
Yeah, like, again, some mechanics, good. Again, for example, I think Outward has a great balance of it. But did they get over but we haven't gotten played. Highly recommended. It's really good in what it does, because I think the big difference is like, yeah, it technically has quote-unquote survival mechanics, but I do think the survival mechanics are less there to, you know, have realism and more there to just...
It's time pressure.
Time pressure and commitment to decisions. You know what? I would love to put you up again, but I know the round is still going for a bit, so who cares?
Commitment to decisions, inventory management,
Exactly.
keeping track of time to a degree, because food can spoil.
Yeah. Like, it's not
That influences your backpack choice. Oh, interconnected systems.
Yeah, like, it's not a hard game. Like, don't, like, I will be the first person to say, it's also, like, the actual design of the game. Yeah, it's not just slapped onto another game where it doesn't have, like, a point. Like, yeah, the thing about Outward is, oh yeah, you basically have to eat from time to time, but, like, eating isn't a bad thing. And also, it's not like, oh, you need to do it constantly. It's just you need to think what you keep, what you take with you, because it's all about managing the whole inventory. Because, like, yeah, you need to commit some space to food, and that's a decision you need to make.
And which food?
And which food?
If anything, I would like a stomach system a la Yakuza a bit. Because you could just eat more buff food the whole time, and that makes it weird.
Yeah.
I would rather have like smaller buffs that just are on longer. Like over time while you I don't know how to say it. Or your stomach does its thing.
Yeah, that's true. I do think there's just a lot of parts that you need to be considered when it's, you know, oh hey, how do you make a game? What mechanic do you want to have in your game? And I think the biggest thing that everyone should always keep in mind, people will always jump to a simple answer when there are much better solutions, if you just think about it.
It's your part where you expand on what you just said.
Because, for example, recently there was the change to Counter-Strike about, just like a year into Counter-Strike 2 releasing, they just suddenly changed how ammo works, that you now have magazines that just get dumped. Like, oh, if you reload, you just lose the ammo that was in your magazine. And let me just be clear here. I think this is a dumb change. And a lot of people agree this is a dumb change. And mostly people that do not play Counter-Strike hold it up as a good change. And then, beef with people are like, oh, do you not want to have game design? Like, no, shut up.
I mean, it's good for them. I would also not recommend playing Counter-Strike. It's pretty annoying.
It's a good game, though. But the people are bad, yeah.
Yes. I agree on both points.
But, like...
I don't like it, but it's a good game.
Yeah. But, like, I'm going to be... I already wrote about this on Blue Sky, but, like... They're like, oh, we need to make reloading more meaningful. Listen, the point of reloading is that you have to reload. Like, I mean, as a lot of people point out, even Chad Falishek, who worked at Valve, pointed out, the big difference was that the change isn't even realistic, as a lot of people point out, which, yes, it is not. Like, as a lot of other people point out, for example, in games like Insurgency, or even in Call of Duty, the reason why animations now show that you, if you partially reload, you keep the magazine, is because you keep the magazine. Like, yeah, you cycle to a full magazine, but after that you cycle the least full magazine and then the next one, because you keep them. In Counter-Strike, you just lose them. And people are like, oh, but but back in the day you had to buy ammunition. Which is also not the point, because the point of buying ammunition was that this was an attrition. Like, okay, here's the thing. The thing about Counter-Strike is, when you're good at the game, you will keep your gun. Like, one of the key things that is about the high-level play, where this change will have zero impact, but on the lower level it is also just kind of dumb, is the fact that when people say, oh, but you had to buy ammunition. Yes, because your ammunition didn't refill between rounds. Because, this is the thing, when someone was good at the game, they were able to keep their gun for a few rounds. Buying ammunition was a small tax on their money, so they didn't just balloon out of reach. That was the point of ammunition buying. Not making it realistic or anything. Like, hell, ironically, they could just bring that back, but now it's just, oh no, now it's just like, and this is what it is. It punishes reloading, when reloading was already the whole, oh, you reload problem. But the irony is they basically looked at the pro scene, and the fact that everyone reloaded after firing, which, usually didn't result in this scenario what reload was even existing in for. Which is also weird when people say, oh, don't you want the game, you want the game without reloading? They existed before Counter-Strike. The reloading existed in Counter-Strike to quite literally make it so that you had to commit time to make your mag full again and technically try again. Or not. Now it's just, fuck you, you lose ammunition. Just for the point of you run out of ammunition. Like, that's the thing, okay? Let me be clear here. You lose ammunitions in a magazine system, so you run through ammunition. And this is fine if you have a game that is built around that, and this is why, all the takes of, well, Helldivers 2 does it. First of all, Helldivers 2 is a completely different genre, and crucially, the point of Helldivers, the feeling on why they have the whole, you dump the whole magazine, again, it's not realistic, is first of all, there's a lot of ammunition around in Helldivers. You can even, in Helldivers 2, you can even have backpacks that have just more ammunition on there. The whole point of it is that they basically want you to be able to fire a shit ton of rounds into enemy hordes, but still have those moments where, oh shit, my ammunition ran out. This is why they have this reload system in Helldivers 2, to even have the point of running out of ammunition. The thing of Counter-Strike is, running out of ammunition is irrelevant because you pick up weapons anyway from the ground. Like, oh yeah, you just don't have ammunition that much anymore from the you don't have ammunition that much more from the M4A1, I think, was it the silenced one everyone uses. Like, yeah, sure. No one will pick the A4 variant that has more ammunition after this chains, because the thing is, you're playing CT. You will kill a terrorist with it and then pick up the AK, which is unchanged. Again, can I make it any more clear how dumb this change is? I feel like that should ask themselves, what is the point of this as a standard thing? Yeah, they basically had the whole thing of maybe reloading should have more meaning. You know what? I agree. The problem they have with reloading is just their reloading is shit. Like, that's the key thing. But here's the thing. You know why I landed on this solution? Because on the surface, on the surface, this quote unquote solves the problem. It doesn't. Like, again, people will still reload. It will just rebuy ammo. It will change virtually nothing really on high levels. And for low levels, it just will also not change a lot. Because it's just punishing reloading and letting you run out of ammo. The thing is, as I pointed out, the point of a reload is you commit time to restock the available ammo to shoot. That is the point. Also, by the way, as a lot of people point out, guns in like every single game nowadays, and thanks to Call of Duty, by the way, have the one in the chamber mechanic, meaning, yes, you have a 30-shot magazine, but there's one bullet, if you partially reload, still in there. So you have 31 bullets. So anyway, Counter-Strike 2 also doesn't have that, because obviously it doesn't have that. But here's the thing. You know what would have been more interesting? Overhauling reload animations. Because here's the thing. Just switching around how much ammunition a gun has is not really relevant. Because the shit weapons are still shit. The good weapons just are good, but you rebuy them anyway. Because again, if you play at relatively high levels, you have a gun for like 2 rounds. That will not be enough time to waste all your... You could maybe waste your ammo, but then, you know, you die anyway, and woo.
Yeah,
so who cares?
If you waste your ammo, unless you do it deliberately, it means you don't aim well. And if you don't aim well, that means you die.
Yeah. The MP5 will not be good just because, you know, oh, it has more ammunition now. You know what would make the MP5 good? If it had a really fast reload time. That's the thing. The problem is just, if you just sit down and would do the whole, every weapon suddenly has a different animation and different speed to reloading, it would actually change tons. Because suddenly you would maybe have the M4 variants. The A1 variant would be a slow reload animation, and the other one could be a really fast one. And suddenly it's like, oh yeah, you can't silence it. No, it's the same. Like, Counter-Strike has really simplistic reload animations, all the fucking same. Again, the solution to what they wanted would have been to rework all the animations into maybe longer, maybe even some more realistic looking ones, where so that the whole time of, you know, you press R would make a, oh, I need to actually think about if I'm doing that, or, you know, a gun would be like, oh no, this one is a weaker gun, but I'm way faster back in the action. But you know, you realize what I just said there, right? They would need to rework all the animations. Now they could do that. It's Valve. They could hire people. They could make a whole pass and be like, look, the biggest change in probably one of the biggest changes in Counter-Strike history, changing how much time things take to reload and how it looks. But the thing is that it's worked. The other thing is what I just told. That's changing a few lines of code and an icon UI. So guess why they went with that solution? Take a wild guess.
They asked AI.
No. Okay.
Prove me wrong.
Do I really want to get into the whole argument that AI instantly destroys any credibility of any studio, and it's horrendous, and I hate it for that, because like...
Especially like, even if you want to use it for like inspiration or something, since AI is trained, like when we talk about generative AI, especially like large language models and stuff, is trained on the average Reddit post. The answer will be mostly average Reddit posts.
Or porn.
Well, that would be better, I guess.
I guess.
It wouldn't answer the question, but it wouldn't give you a bad answer.
But like, here's the thing. For example, like, again, games, or I would always say games right now have a marketing problem. Like, a lot of game studios just don't get why, for example, you don't ask users to make every decision in your life. No, I actually don't.
That's actually something we should popularize. Like, if you ask any AI model for like life advice, you might as well ask Reddit.
I did ask Reddit once for advice, and their advice was shit, and then I realized, you know what, I should have just realized the thing from the beginning, that maybe it wasn't my fault, it was really just the people I play. Okay, short answer, I had a TTRPG group, it ran really badly, and I really just wanted to be like, maybe I should just ask some people from outside for feedback. And they were like, yeah, well, you know what, it's your problem, you should listen to your players. And it turns out, no, the players just didn't give a fuck. Like, how can I run a fucking TTRPG campaign? And I was just getting into it back again. But like, you know, I'm old at this. You know, I'm almost like 20 years into like jamming TTRPGs. I know that hobby. I know it long before D&D. But if someone is like, oh yeah, I want to play
D&D, but
what?
Not before D&D, but
okay, before D&D 5th edition.
Yes.
Yeah. But you know, if someone comes to me and like, I want to play a castle, I'm like, this is difficult and you need to work yourself into it. And then they play, and they just didn't even learn their spells. You know what? Fuck you.
You know what the best thing about that player was? That not only did she not learn her spells, but she only wrote down the title of the spells and then tried to extrapolate what they would do. Because I remember that round. I was there.
I want to play TTRPGs again. Seriously, it's just maybe with some people from the Discord. Who knows? I guess, you know, be in the Discord. Maybe one day I offer a round of TTRPG jamming again. I don't know. I once tried to DM for a player who was treating it like an MMORPG and asking random people to focus. Oh my god! Oh.
I mean, technically, if they wanted to do that, and the first thing is obviously establishing that you both wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. You could make them like how's it called again? Oh, that's Cloud's title, Final Fantasy VII.
Huh?
In the beginning.
A mercenary.
A mercenary, but also like a problem solver, so to speak.
I guess.
And you keep your money afloat to
But you still don't go around and talk to everyone for quests.
No.
Yeah.
But if the GM and the player would both want that kind of thing, you would run into or notice people with problems, which you then could help with. Yeah. But yeah, if you do something completely different and some player just starts asking random people for quests.
I mean, back when I started playing, this was like almost 10 years before 5th edition came out, we always had people, new people especially, that always wanted to try to go on solo trips. And the most common used phrase was, "This isn't Elder Scrolls." Yep. We already had a thing to say before Skyrim came out. Because it's just the same. It's always the same. We moved. Yeah. And sometimes there are moments where I just think back at some where, I had this, mystery Jack the Ripper style story, and we were asking questions and someone was like, yeah, hey, quite literally, it was just a setup of some, basically, we were supposed to find someone, they were supposed to find someone, for their mother, and, her bodyguard, basically, slash pimp, was basically saying, hey, I also look for her. But, after he gained his trust, he basically told them, hey, you can ask that person and tell them I sent you. Which was generally just, he gave you an entry, he gave the players an entry to basically a mob boss. Because they know more. And for some reason, the players just were like, oh, we need to kill that guy. No! How can you all murder hobos?
I mean, you could, but it wouldn't help you.
Yeah.
Especially not in, I presume this was either DSR or Shadowrun.
It was Shadowrun.
Yeah. Yeah, that does not help.
Yeah. Oh, the same happened to me with this guy. Oh no! Is it the same person though?
Somehow.
Maybe it would be funny if it was the same person. I doubt it, but it would be very funny. Actually.
Reminds me when you told me once when new people back in the day wanted to DM, and they threw they let the opposing army catapult steel balls and stuff.
Yeah.
That was DSA, right?
That was DSA. It was very dumb. Same guy.
So you just melted the steel balls down and made weapons and armor.
Yep. And they were, why are you doing that? Well, we can't, you throw steel. Anyway, but yeah, oh god, it's just like...
See, that's why I don't plot shit in my scenarios that I do.
I get you.
I have no plot. I have factions. I have facts about the world. They have motivations and morals, and that's enough. And nobody can derail it.
Yeah, and so
which is really funny because sometimes people tried. And I remember you, Melando. You always were like, "Ooh, we derailed it." No, you didn't derail shit. Because nothing of this is...
He really... Wow, you just called him out on stream. Sorry. This is going into the archive,
It's fine. I like Melando.
He's a nice guy, yeah.
Just the assumption that you can derail my campaign is no, it's not possible.
It's so funny how in the same campaign...
You can go into the woods and make a shack and live there. I don't fucking care.
Hey, we took over a monastery.
You took over a monastery.
And I still didn't find demon girls.
No, but you also died.
Multiple times, yes. Unhinged people. It's so funny how during that, I know at one point you were like, you just sold a child to a hag, and we all were like, yeah. No, seriously, we just straight up sold a child to a hag, and then even Agoria was like,
for what again?
I think some small info. It was probably not even worth it, but we did it anyway because the only thing
stole the child from an orphanage. I remember.
We were really not good.
I think she was helping you with some curse.
Yeah, she did, but
I mean, you all died anyway after the Oni encounter.
Yeah, I know, because, anyway.
Because nobody fucking expects an Oni for some reason.
I know. You used the weird monsters. Anyway, it was still funny because even you were like, you know what you did, right? And we were all like, yeah.
I was just checking in to make sure.
And we're like, no, we were very aware of the morals that we did.
That's fine.
You know what? That's the funniest part. If you just can play some, you know what? We were just a bit unhinged in that regard. Oh well. But yeah, I do hope at some point I can GM again. I guess watch out the community Discord. Maybe I just throw it up there at some point. Morals equals no. Yes. I mean, I know I said it to you. I want I would do it to you single player, but I also do want to run Tomb of Annihilation once with a group.
You tried that once. It ended badly.
I will vet the group better next time.
You say that.
I know.
Just run it with me. I just built an overpowered character and it's fine.
I'm actually not there. What do you mean with that? You mean on the Discord? And you could join if you want. I can send you an invite. Like, But yeah, yeah, TTRPGs. Might send you that on Blue Sky or on I don't know yet, but I might do it later. We still have to do a walk now. So yeah, see you all around. That was fun. Tomorrow we're actually finally back with Romeo's a Dead Man. Been just a tiny bit.
You just needed to close a portal to hell in the favelas.
After trying to revive Medaya. Yeah. Actually, for everyone who's wondering, I actually have all the achievements in that game now. I don't know why, but I have them. Yeah. See you all around, and until tomorrow. Bye!